Welcome everyone to Ladder Daily Digest. We honor creators, and today we are in Tim's living room. Thanks, Tim. Tim's done vacuuming so that we can all have a nice clean spot.
All done.
Thank you very much, Tim.
And Tim,
all the corners.
we decided to talk about the new gospel topics essays. The church calls them something else. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But Tim, you tell us a little bit about what you think about the overall church's attempt at gospel topic essays and why they're
whitewash,
use more than one compound word.
Whitewash is a compound word. Yeah,
let me
you're
see.
right.
Obfuscation, leaving out facts,
written by lawyers.
I don't think lawyers had, maybe somebody with training.
Yeah.
No,
the historians are lawyers.
Maybe they have some input.
An apologist.
The mindset.
An apologist. It's an apologetic stance.
Yeah.
They leave out some data, and they are we gonna. Let's talk about the Book of Mormon article, okay?
Okay, first I have an idea.
Okay.
I'm going to share with everybody where these are located, and we're going to see how long it takes us to get to them. And I'm going to add to the stage.
Did you want to ask a certain someone to join the panel tonight?
Oh yeah, Kirsten. I put in a link. If you can join, come on in. We'd be happy. We need to balance our testosterone out with.
Please, women, any woman, come on.
Some women.
Any female out there.
Megan hasn't responded to my text, but I put the show on all three of our channels, and hope for the best. Sometimes Megan is shopping for clothes. Sometimes she's doing grocery shopping. Sometimes she's just out and about doing some other things. So here's a link to where I am right now in the website. So if anybody knows Megan, tell her that we'd be happy to have her on as well. And
Kiki, we're talking to you.
And Kiki and somebody join.
Kinder Kim, just call me Kim.
Kiki's laughing it up, but we're serious.
Lisa, bite me.
Salt and pepper.
Any female.
This is Angry Smith.
That would be Angry Seth.
Oh, Seth. Ms. Angry Seth. So anyway, I put in the chat where the link to this thing is. And so this says library. So if you start off with library, it used to take like 6 clicks to get in. But if you scroll down a little bit, there's something that says topics and questions. And I don't know if you can see if my cursor, I could make it bigger, but I won't. But anyway, I'll click on topics and questions.
I can't see because Kinder Kim is right in the way. I can't see.
Megan,
just kidding.
Kinder Kim, we think Megan's at the store, but we don't know for sure.
And so
She's not picking up.
I think hundreds of these topics now. And that's part of what Tim was saying about obfuscation.
Wait, I just got a text from Megan. She says, "Sorry I'm late, guys. I'm at the Temple Distribution Center. I have a chance to get some of the new garments."
Oh,
they're going to find her out.
So there you go.
Yeah.
The church is going to get word.
Wow, it's open late out back. What is it? 8 o'clock back? 8 or 9 o'clock. She's 2 hours ahead.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She didn't text me.
Oh, okay.
Kendall can add to the testosterone. Everybody who wants Kendall, on the show? Raise your hand.
Oh,
Come on, Kendall.
come on. To be fair, the
Kendall, if you want to
testosterone
come
was
on, come
kinda-
on. You're okay. Come on, come on, come on, Kendall.
But Kiki,
the
we're not joking.
testosterone
You
was
would add a
very
lot to the
low.
program.
Ki-
You could
yeah,
take
Kiki,
place
we're for
the
real.
show.
We're not joking, women. I really want a lady on here. I want a perspective. Please, please, please. I'll do anything for you. I'll vacuum your house. I'll wash your dishes. I'll do your laundry. Okay?
Maybe
I'll
I'm
do
scared
any of
now.
those things. I
What
do them here
hen-
anyway.
What hen is
I-
willing to come into the Roosters group?
That's right.
Kiki says she's coming on. Yay.
All right.
All right,
She
Kiki.
has to set up her mic or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's lots of these essays now. And in a way,
Wow.
like obfuscation, right?
A lot.
Why don't they just call them, these are the articles that prove the church is false?
Yeah, and actually I have a question about that from Tim. I'm gonna take this off the stage for a second. Tim, I have a question.
Okay.
We have a conference talk where somebody tells us exactly what church doctrine is. And they said in the conference talk, it's when how many people agree?
One.
One or
15.
two or more of you.
It's when
15.
all 15 of the
15.
quorum of the 15 agree, right?
Yes. Right.
And I just thought of it months afterwards. I don't even know if the other 14 agree with his talk.
Good
Oh, no,
point.
yeah. One guy.
Right?
One guy does
I,
everything.
I don't even
Good
know
point.
of one thing that they all agree on.
Well, what about that song? That's where one or two of more you. Wait, one or
I-
two or more
I-
of you are gathered in my name. There
I
is
can-
love.
Tell you that when Howard W. Hunter was getting married, he didn't tell them until I think the day before. And he said, I'm getting married tomorrow and I don't want any of you there or something like that, according to Mike Quinn. They don't share about,
Howard W. Hunter didn't like any of them.
he didn't want them at his wedding. If I remember the story right, I may be wrong. Okay. I'm remembering something that Mike told me a long time ago. Well, he said in a talk or something. I can't remember when it was, but they try to keep their personal things separate from the business. Like they don't talk about their personal lives much when they're together. They focus on work of the church. And he was getting married the next day or something, and he said, "I don't want to see any of you there," something like that. I don't quote. I might be wrong, but that's how I remember it. And Mike and I talked about it a few times, so pretty sure I'm correct. So they don't get along as it's like a business, you know. I mean, they're all we all know what they want. They all want that number one spot, and they're going to do anything they can to get there.
Yeah, it'd be a good like movie or series, like the one guy trying to kill the other ones off, you know, trying to get to the top, starts taking out the competition. That'd be a good premise for a movie or something.
Exactly.
Series.
You got that. You get great, Trevor. Yes.
Yeah, one apostle starts killing all the other ones.
Well, that's like the Pelican Brief, where they killed off a couple of Supreme Court justices to get it replaced with who they wanted.
If you want to change the government.
Brief.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington plays a journalist.
Yeah, great movie. Sam Shepard. Is it Holly Hunter or?
It's not Holly Hunter.
Julia Roberts, then I guess. Yeah, Julia. Julia is the law student. And Peter Coyote, I think, is the one that gets killed. Right. Is it Sam Shepard? Yeah.
Had 3 pages.
So here's an article that we're going to sort of deal with. Church adds 3 new pages to gospel topics and questions.
See, these are the 3 that...
something on the Book of Mormon translation, Joseph Smith's character, and the practice of plural marriage.
They should add 116 pages.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, there's at least 116 topics. So which one did you want to start with, Tim?
What are some
Book
of the
Mormon
topics?
Book of Mormon is the first one. of the three down there. It goes Book of Mormon, Plural Marriage, and then Character of Joseph Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. That
So you
one.
want to talk about this one first?
We'll talk about this one first.
Okay.
Are we going to read it?
I guess
really-
we could read.
I'm really going to let everybody else read it.
Because
I'll
I
find-
guarantee you, people aren't going to rush to their
They're
computers to.
they're short.
read that.
They're short. They're only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
What I'm going to do is I asked AI to generate summaries. And so I'm going to read
Okay.
the summary.
Okay.
The Book of Mormon came through miraculous events as the translation of an ancient record engraved on plates. And so these are claims that the church is making in these things. The plates were inscribed in an unknown ancient language, and Joseph Smith, a young man with limited education, could not translate the text by conventional means. He repeatedly testified he accomplished the translation by the gift and power of God. God helped his prophet produce a translation that powerfully testifies of Jesus in English. And so I'm reading this, but this is what the summation is of what the church is saying. These are claims the church is making. Eyewitnesses described two different stone instruments Joseph Smith used. The interpreters described as a pair of clear stones set in metal rims, sometimes called
Glasses.
spectacles, buried with the plates, and a separate seer stone that Joseph had discovered earlier. These objects could be used interchangeably. A few years after publication, both instruments were sometimes referred to using the Old Testament term Urim and Thummim. The gold plates served as tangible evidence that the Book of Mormon was an ancient record. Multiple witnesses, including 3 who saw the plates and an angel, and 8 who saw, held, and examined them, testified of their reality. The translation process was fast, with almost the entire book dictated between April and June of 1829. And so what do you think about that so far, Tim?
Half of it's false. Some of it is false. Some of it is incorrect. Okay.
So let's pick apart the some of it.
Okay. Saying that the seer stone was referred to as Urim and Thummim prior to the 1834 publication of Joseph Smith's History and the Messenger and Advocate is incorrect.
Yeah, it was only when the trial came, right? When Oliver
No.
Cowdery was on the stand. Was that the first time Urim and Thummim?
Yeah, I think you're right. Around that time.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that. Yeah.
Don't remember
But
the
it
year.
wasn't until they wrote his history in the Messenger and Advocate, it did not become, they weren't called, in fact, nobody knew. He didn't really say how it was translated.
Mhm.
Most people just said he used the seer stone in a hat.
Yeah, but then
If
that
they knew
the
it all.
court
That's
courts
what
heard of that or whatever.
when Philastus Herbert went back and interviewed everybody, and Erasmus Turner published in his book, everybody referred to it as a seer stone. And in somewhere in minutes, I think it was 1870s, 1880s, I was reading some minutes in the archives, church archives, and it said it was a mineral stone. He referred to it as a mineral stone that Joseph Smith used. So that's much later. But they refer to it more mostly as a stone rather than the Urim and Thummim. Yeah. So 1834, that's when it becomes canonized. Well, not canon. You know, the first time the public hears about his story, his first vision story, and the story of the Book of Mormon, how it came forward, and the priesthood. That's 1834, if I remember right. Messenger Advocate. Before
Gene,
that,
I'm sorry. Gene, could you give Kiki a link? She's looking for a link to come in.
So I put it in the chat for all 3 shows.
put it
But
back
I'll
in
do
the
it
chat.
again. And go ahead if you're gonna have your speaker on mute unless you're gonna talk because we're hearing some background noises.
Someone's
Okay.
tapping on the computer.
Yeah, are we on the page that's the newsroom or the actual Book of Mormon translation page?
The Book of Mormon translation article.
That starts off, the Book of Mormon came to us through a series of
Yes.
miraculous events. Is
Yes.
the translation? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, when I read
Also-
that, I mean, I know what they were given as far as a directive to write these. It's like emphasize everything that makes us look good and de-emphasize all the things that don't. And so what do you start off with? You know, regardless of what we're about to tell you, look through this of the lens of this is a miracle, this is from God. They start off with that.
Thank you, Kendall.
It's Christian.
Yes.
Remember, it's Christian.
The other thing is an unknown language. Well, they don't say Reformed Egyptian, which everybody knows it as Reformed Egyptian, because those are the words that Joseph Smith used, Martin
Right.
Harris,
Unknown.
other people. So
Maybe
it is
Reformed
known.
Egyptian is going to be just as taboo as the word Mormon someday.
Well, and if you're talking to some Mormon apologist, he's going to say it was just Egyptian. What do you mean Reformed? He said it was the Egyptian language. And I'm going, he said Reformed Egyptian. He didn't say Egyptian language.
Right. He's and it's really pretty clever to say Reformed Egyptian because first of all, back then, not very many people knew that Egyptian was translatable.
Well,
and then if you add a twist on it, like Joseph Smith basically said, it's Egyptian, but it's in slang, Egyptian slang. So I'm the only one that even knows the slang.
the first articles about the Rosetta Stone in English were published around the 1820s, 1815 to 1825, thereabouts is when it was published. And it would not have filtered out into the Western Reserve. It would have stayed in universities. Hi, Kiki. And
Not until Joseph was dead did people really know.
Academic circles, it wouldn't have gone to your backwoods preachers, pretty much. It probably would have stayed in the Ivy League colleges and stuff like that. It wouldn't have gone. Would have gone to colleges that knew about ancient language. We're learning about ancient languages.
Kiki, thank you for coming on
Yes, thank you, Kiki.
at this last minute.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, I didn't get raptured, so might as well talk about other Jesus stuff. That doesn't matter anyway, right?
You too, huh? I went to the doctor
Still
today,
here.
and I went to the doctor, and she put me in room 7, and I says, "Oh, if I'm in room 7, then am I in 7th heaven?"
Well, I keep seeing a bright light coming in,
Oh,
and
no.
I feel myself being sucked up,
Oh, no.
but I keep fighting it and trying to stay down here on earth.
You have more work to do, Randy.
I guess
not your
the
time.
fact that I can resist means I'm not worthy to go yet.
So, Kiki, what were the original Gospel Topics essays as far as you were concerned when you first heard of them, and how did that affect your life?
Let's see. I left the church like 10 years ago. I don't know how long everyone else has been out, but I remember the original ones with the Joseph Smith vision. That was shocking to me that there were so many versions of the vision. That's the main one I remember. I remember talking about like the Pearl of Great Price,
Right. Book of Abraham, right?
Book of Abraham, yeah. But I would say honestly, like those had just started coming out right as I was really leaving. So like the CES letter was a super hot topic, and then Joseph Smith's first vision. Sorry if you can hear my dogs. I remember talking to my mom about the different versions of the first vision, and she had never heard that. And my mom was in her 60s at that point, and she had been a member since she was 14, and she had never heard that there was more than one version of the first vision. So
40 years of Sunday school, Relief Society lessons. They could have said something at some
you would
point.
think, yeah, you would think so,
The same thing
But,
goes when like people say, "Oh, I knew about Joseph Smith's polygamy," right?
right?
I was like, "Okay, show me from one of our manuals a picture of Joseph Smith and any of his wives other than Emma, and I'll believe you that we're taught."
Yeah.
Well,
I never heard heard about it.
I'm saying
there
we
was
were
a-
taught, Tim. I'm not saying that if you go to the bottom of the
No,
BYU
no,
library,
no.
you can scrounge
No,
around.
no. It was in a church manual
Yeah, it's very
in the
obscure.
1990s, where one of the photographs in the manual was about polygamy and being arrested. I think it was the reward for the first presidency. So
Well, you're gonna have to
But
get
it-
that and photocopy it for me to believe
they
you.
might not have talked about Joseph Smith polygamy, but they did talk about polygamy anyway.
I remember seeing
Well, you
pictures
know-
of Brigham Young's wives.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It looked like
all the time.
youth women's girls camp, except for the girls were all like 60, right?
Well, you know what's
Yes,
weird
one
is
less
all
son.
of the teachers I've ever had throughout my decades and decades and throughout my mission, everybody forgot to tell me about Joseph Smith being a
Yeah, same.
polygamist.
Same.
Isn't
When it
that
came out,
something?
Well,
I was never taught explicitly about polygamy writ large. It was always this very vague thing of like, oh yeah, this happened because there was lots of widows
yeah, it's a lot of
and
stuff
it was
there.
good for the women, and all the
Claims.
details were never given. It was always just
Mm.
vague references, and then it ended and we moved on and we don't talk about it. That's all
Yeah.
I was given.
We had to build Utah. We had to make this whole state.
Well,
So that's very
I knew
obscure.
about it from a young age because my grandfather told me about it. And like Gene says, I'm a unicorn. And
Right. Your grandfather could have told you there was a man on the moon.
Maybe
Your
it's
grandfather could have been Joseph Smith. Just say it.
he was the state patriarch of the Cheyenne state until he died in 71.
You know, you read the
He was a
different
bishop
means.
for 20-something years in Cameron, Wyoming. Go ahead.
You read the different means of him translating.
Yes.
One was the Urim and Thummim, and the other he describes, well, in the seer stone. The other he describes something, crystals in a rim.
Yeah.
Now, is it just me, or does that sound like a pair of freaking glasses?
It is
Sounds
a
like
pair
a
of
pair of
glasses.
Spectacles.
Well, if you've seen Angels in
Right.
America, where the floor opens up and he picks up the Urim and Thummim, they're stones and set in glasses.
Mhm.
Which
And
is
guess
not a-
what? They had glasses back then. I know, because I've seen the Westerns where they are wearing those glasses. So they must have had glasses back then.
Didn't like Benjamin Franklin create bifocals or something?
Yeah.
Bifocals,
He invented
yes.
the
Bifocals, yes.
So they already
Thank goodness.
had spectacles prior to that.
Yeah. They had spectacles for hundreds of years.
Well, you know, if we're
Well,
talking about
Are we going to
national
go through
treasure-
the Book of Mormon essay? Because I got a lot to say about this second paragraph.
Which one?
Oh,
What
we'll
were you
let,
saying,
we'll let-
Kirsten? I'm sorry.
let Kristen say what she's going to say, and then we'll.
It was just me being a brat. I was saying in National Treasure, remember they had like the glasses that would show the different
Yes.
colors for the map. And
Yeah.
they were saying Benjamin Franklin made those. And also he was part of the stonemasons. Remember, that was a whole thing in it. So if we're going to go by any sort of Hollywood theater, it just would show they obviously had glasses if they were stonemasons. That's all I'm saying. So
There you go.
Good one.
that was all.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, Kendall, pick it apart.
Okay, so when I came in, we had just read that one thing and I commented on it. The next thing where I stopped was the Book of Mormon could only be translated with divine help. And listen to this. Listen to this. Joseph Smith didn't share details about the translation process, aka don't look into that. Don't look over there. Like the details we have, we don't like, so it's not significant.
Well, in the Book of Mormon paper that I wrote, let me see. Where's my Book of
That's the
Mormon
Book of Mormon paper that John G. Turner references.
No. That's another paper.
Another
No,
paper.
this is the one that I wrote. That I wrote, and John Welch put his name in front of mine to take credit for. A Book of Mormon translation.
You go beat him up.
It's okay. I got
We'll
paid
just do
for
it from memory.
That Joseph Smith told the quorum of the 12 when they were called, and it's in the quorum minutes, that it was not necessary to know the coming forth of the Book of Mormon, the process.
It's
Oh, yeah,
almost
yeah, I
like,
remember that.
hey, it's
Yeah.
a magic trick, and I've sworn to my magician friends not to reveal my tricks.
Well, remember the story of all these people gathered together, and Hiram brought it up to Joseph, like, "Hey, tell us that story of how it was translated again." And then
That's
Joseph was like, "No, we're not supposed to tell you."
That's right.
It's
It's just
obviously-
say it's by the gift and power of God. That's it.
Yeah.
Joseph said, by the gift and power of God. Yeah, that's the
What?
ticket.
What was the
Tuesdays with
story
Tim
again?
is powered by the gift and power of God.
Yeah.
That's right.
Take
And then
that,
it
true
says,
believers.
this means we don't have a complete understanding of how the miracle of translation occurred. So, in other words, we don't want to explain it because when we try to, it makes us look bad. But the next sentence
Yeah.
is what I think gives away the whole ball game.
Uh-oh.
It says, the text of the Book of Mormon came by revelation. In other
Revelation.
words,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
have
it's huge.
officially,
Huge.
and in the church's own words, we have officially put the Book of Mormon, the keystone of the religion, into the same category as the Book of Abraham, aka everything about its source and origin is wrong. It was just a catalyst.
Yeah. So translation is a hiss and a byword now.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
translation. They go to great pains to de-emphasize that and say he didn't talk about it much. It wasn't that important. All you need to know was that it's a miracle. But then, to their credit, they at least are clear of what the result is it was revelation. It was not a word-for-word translation, despite all the accounts of the people who helped him in the process and saying that he would look in the hats and it wouldn't go on until the right exact words were written down. All of that is now fan fiction.
Mhm.
But to their discredit, they still won't admit that the plates weren't right there.
Oh, but
I
they
found
were. They were
nothing that
covered.
says-
They were covered in a cloth. Don't you know?
Yeah.
Emma moved them once or twice and
Right.
could feel them.
But is
Right?
there ever a
Yeah.
time where like a revelation about a real thing that happened before? Like, did any of the scriptures, did they ever say, I had a revelation about Jesus, this thing he said? Like, you don't have a revelation about a past event that actually happened. Like, that doesn't even make sense. You know? It's
Yep,
like
but then their narrative continues. Look at the next sentence. The Book of Mormon itself reminds us that the Lord speaks unto man according to their language, according to their understanding. And then it lists, like, look at all these good things the Book of Mormon does. It testifies of Jesus Christ. It shows that God works through man. It's a witness of the Savior. In other words, they spend a little time setting up what they need to set up of like, okay, the way it came to be was not a big deal. All you need to know is that it was a miracle and it came through revelation and it gives you good things. There's no there past that. Just focus on the good of the Book of Mormon. That's all we want you to do. Like I am amazed at how like meticulous they are at trying to get people to only think about a narrow number of things and do not look beyond that.
Don't worry about it.
all
Don't worry
that money and
about where
effort
they came
goes.
from.
All the effort goes into the spin and to the people.
Well, they keep on emphasizing God. You can know through the Spirit by praying about it. You know, every single paragraph here pretty much points to the gift and power of God.
Well, they do for surprisingly they make reference specifically to he used a small brown stone commonly called a seer stone. I mean, how many
Yep.
decades was that excommunicable offense to mention that?
So, yeah,
I don't know if it ever was.
depends
All,
who your bishop
all I
was.
know is it's in the earliest literature, anti-Mormon literature is, like I said, Erasmus Turner, Philastus Herbert, E.D. Howe, you know, they all mention a stone. It's only in Mormon literature that it becomes a Urim and Thummim. And actually, that's not even what the Urim and Thummim is. The Urim and Thummim
Yeah.
is a breastplate that has 12 stones on it. And the priest would ask questions about a certain tribe or something, and the stone for the tribe supposedly glowed. It's been a while
Yeah.
since I read up on it.
It's like a magic 8 ball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
but it-
Liahona was what I think of as a ball with like a compass thing,
Hmm.
but it was the Urim and Thummim that it was the breastplate with the bejeweled breastplate. What did they call the spectacles? There was a name for them.
Yeah, they're interpreters.
interpreters.
Interpreters, is that what they called them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joseph called them. That's not a biblical thing. That's just a Joseph
That's not
thing.
biblical. That's what he called them.
That's all because he went with a different seer guy, and the seer guy said, "I see the spectacles." So then Joseph had to add the spectacles. It was something that was kind of forced onto him. It's kind of a long story, but
It's a
like some random
breastplate
thing
worn
that
by the
he
high
had to put.
priest, a type of garment. The pair are used frequently in the Old Testament. Yeah, so worn by the high priest.
And in the essay where they treat that, they say, you know, well, there's similar things that were used in ancient times for prophets, and again, the conclusion does the same thing the previous section does. Is all you need to know is this is proof that Joseph was a prophet, because there's all these weak connections that we want to emphasize.
And it's not true at all, because the only thing in the Bible is the Urim and Thummim. There's nothing else about scrying or anything like that. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, a better explanation, this is what I always go back to, is you look at all the facts, not just this narrow window that the church wants us to look through. You look at all the facts and you ask yourself this question: what explanation best matches all the facts? And the best explanation is that Joseph used frontier occult magic. He was very versed in that. His whole family was versed in that. And he was just doing that. And this other thing came later and he shoehorned it in. And he wasn't a prophet till after he wanted to make money and do it in a mass money-making scheme, I think.
And to appease the Mormon atheists, Solomonic magic is not the same, according to him, as folk magic. Anyway, we'll just put that in there for you, Derek. Solomonic magic. Okay, you happy now?
That's right. A fan of the show.
A fan of the show.
Also known
Derek,
as the Mormon atheist.
Mormon atheist.
Has been touting a theory he has that not only just most of what Mormonism has said is a lie, but almost every single thing they've ever said is a lie.
Yeah, the next section is a perfect example.
there.
I think we should read that part in full. Who wants to read why has church artwork depicting the translation focused on the interpreters rather than the seer stone? Who wants to read that? I think it's a gold mine of deception.
Where's Kiki?
The damn artists.
Where's Kiki?
Kiki went away.
Damn artists.
It might have been a different type of discussion that Kiki was, or maybe something just happened that she had to back out.
Where is it?
So I'll read it. It says, many early church members were familiar with Joseph's use of seer stones, but for much of the 20th century, published accounts of the translation relied on sources that focused mainly on the interpreters buried with the plates. Memory of the seer stones faded among many Latter-day Saints, and artists and narrators depicted the translation based on this partial understanding of early church history. In recent decades, the church has worked to provide carefully researched and more complete historical accounts of church history. This expanded understanding helps artists more accurately depict the miraculous story of the Book of Mormon's translation, portraying the use of the seer stone as well as interpreters.
Right.
Yeah, I want to go through every sentence of that. Many early church members were familiar, aka we know what the original people said about it, but it was freaking weird. And so the next sentence, for much of the 20th century, published accounts, aka the stuff we would allow to be told about this,
The
focused
official
on
history.
sources, that mainly focused on the interpreters, because that was less weird.
Yeah.
And then
The people
memory
we
of the
pay.
seer stones, because we have actively suppressed it for decades, faded among Latter-day Saints. I mean, it's just mind-boggling
Yeah.
how
A former
they
church
are
historian,
obscuring the truth.
former church historian, Tim Rathbone's friend, Joseph Fielding Smith, even
Vice
said
President.
in answers to gospel questions, I believe, that why would God allow Joseph to use an inferior translation method when God
Yes.
provided the
Exactly.
superior things. So
superior.
he said, I don't even think that even happened. And now it's what everybody says happened.
And he knew it.
Right.
He knew it. He knew it. Oh, crap. My phone's going to die.
Yeah. In recent decades, the church has worked to provide carefully researched and more complete historical accounts, aka we're going back to the original story that we suppressed for so many years.
Because the Tanners got the real story out there, and we had
That's
to cover
exactly right.
Well,
That's
not
it.
just it was there before the Tanners, but they were the ones who.
I guess
Well,
we'll
that's
tell
what I'm
the
saying.
truth now.
They were telling people the real truth. They were
Mhm.
just doing research, right?
Oh, yeah.
Research?
So anyhow,
What's that? You mean
let's
basic
move on to
research?
the next one.
Yeah.
What is the next one? Is
The
it the
next
character
essay?
of Joseph Smith?
Okay.
The caricature.
Wait. Hold it. You're talking about polygamy?
Or
No, a different essay. So Joseph Smith's character, it starts off with on the evening of September 21st. A new essay we're moving on to.
Something happened to our feed through Megan's channel. Well, it talks about the witnesses and revisions he made, and which is not true. Well, some of it's not true. We know that some of the witnesses denied their testimony. Oliver Cowdery, later on, they don't talk about that. And it talks about the revisions. They come up with an apologist answer for white delightsome turned to pure and delightsome. They claim that it was pure and delightsome in the printer's manuscript, and I can tell you personally from having had a copy of the printer's manuscript, and you can find it online, it is pure and white delightsome. It is not pure and delightsome. So he made changes to the 1837 edition, but he didn't change that. The 1842 Nauvoo edition, I think there was an 1844. I think there were 3 editions when he lived. And some of these changes says that they're minor. They are not just minor. They're very significant about changing God and the Son of God and things like that, which are too many. There's over, I think, 1,500 or something changes, and some are insignificant, but a lot are significant. And then it goes off.
There are other shows that have gone through point by point.
Yes.
And I was just thinking we can, in general, just talk about our feelings. What's your feeling, Randy, about this essay that we were just talking about?
Well, I think that very similar to what Kendall said, they are in a rush to go back to the old narrative that they were keeping under wraps, instead of just coming out and saying, hey guys, guess what? This isn't exactly like you've been taught. There's some changes that have come along that we've learned about through historical research, and we think you ought to know what these changes are. Let the people make up their freaking minds instead of always trying to control, to manipulate their thinking.
Right. And I
Give
like
them
how
the
it says,
facts.
at some point that the church is being more transparent about things, which means that they were being less transparent, right?
Bingo.
That's what that really means, right? Just like
Well,
if somebody's a few months shy of their 15th birthday, they're not 15 yet. They're 14.
You had to go read Dialogue or Sunstone or Journal of Mormon History, study other books. You had to go other places, anti-Mormon literature, quote unquote, to find these things. You had to go outside of the manual. Like I was in a lesson once and somebody was quoting W.W. Phelps, I think, about something. And she only quoted part of the statement. And I knew the statement by heart. And I said, wait a minute, what about the rest of the part? And I said the rest of the part. She says, well, that's not in the manual. I says, but that's what it says, and it changes the whole meaning of what you just said. And she says, well, it's not in the manual. I'm only supposed to teach what's in the manual. Don't you know that? Anyway.
That's right. I had a teacher once that was new to the church, and he was teaching gospel doctrine to the young adult class that we had. And he taught by the manual, even to the point where it said, turn page.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't want to stray from anything. So the second thing that's talked about is
polygamy.
Well, it's actually Joseph Smith's character.
No. Okay. All right. Fine.
From the news article we're sort of going by. And so, first of all, I think it's interesting that they wrote something about Joseph Smith's character.
Well, it's the shortest of the 3 essays, too.
You know what I mean?
You know how these things work is they go to focus groups and they ask them things of like, hey, how can we improve our image? What are the problems? And Joseph Smith character comes up enough that, they want to say like, okay, we're going to address this problem so we don't have this problem. We're going to answer it and you should be satisfied. That's their goal. So
Kendall, give us like 3 or 4 quick things about Joseph Smith that we know that would sort of make people wonder about Joseph Smith's character.
Well, they mentioned some in the article, but again, they're doing the same thing that they're doing before. They're framing it in such a way as to downplay it. Like they mentioned, for example, where is it? Look at this. Look at this. He was the defendant in 21 criminal cases, but they downplay it and say, again, such weasel words, many of these cases resulted from prejudice against the Latter-day Saints or false allegations, aka same thing what they were doing with the Book of Mormon. There's no there, no need to be alarmed. We're the victims, and it's all good here. But if you read between the lines, let's read that again. But many of these cases resulted from prejudice, not all of them.
Yeah, so historically you could say things that make him look bad are, how about marrying almost all the maids that came into his house?
Yeah, polygamy is not mentioned in this article. It is absolutely omitted, like the plague it is.
Yeah, so they're not saying the real bad things about his character that people are clamoring about, right? If you marry children, that says something about your character, right? If you make money before you publish the Book of Mormon, and by committing crimes like using a seer stone to treasure dig, right? That was a crime, and that says something about your character, right?
Yeah, and look at the way they talk about the crime of destroying free speech. They say, quote, they believed they were acting legally to suppress what they felt was a public nuisance. I mean, talk about giving them every benefit of every doubt, despite, contrary and condemning evidence. They go out of their way to say, okay, the facts condemn us, the historical record condemn us, so we're just going to focus on their intentions and hope people don't notice.
You know what it's like, and please don't read any politics into this, but let's say hypothetically we had, a president who continued to break the law, continued to have violations mount one after the other. What do the people, all of his followers, say? They come up with these dumbass excuses and, it's just that political party is trying to belittle him because they don't like him. That's exactly what's happening today.
Yeah, it's called motivated reasoning, and you don't ask what I stated in the beginning. What you should do is what explanation best matches the facts. No, that is anathema. You can't do that. You say, what is the conclusion I like? What is the conclusion I want? And I'm only going to mention the things that back that up. They are straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel.
That's talent.
Right. That's lots of talent.
So even this one little section that's on, did Joseph Smith pay his debts, right? Because that...
No, he declared bankruptcy.
That is
He
something.
declared
So
bankruptcy.
in the first paragraph, the last sentence of the first paragraph said he succeeded in paying off many of his debts,
Many.
but others were
That is
unresolved at the
obituary
time of
too.
his murder at age 38. So what does that say? Oh, if he just had time, he would
More
surely
time.
have paid all his debts off, right?
More
Yeah, he
time.
paid off the little ones at first. He
Yeah,
paid
he would
off
have
the
paid
little
back.
ones, and then he died.
Yeah, we would have gotten back to paying Martin Harris back for the Book of Mormon. He just ran out of time. He was busy. Yeah, 20
We
more
won't
years.
talk about John Goodson and others burning all the Book of Mormons on the banks of a river on their way to England.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the 1837 edition.
So yes, they mingle their words with some references,
Right.
Yeah.
and then they make
Just really
other claims that they can't really back up for sure. They say Joseph Smith took his financial responsibilities seriously. Like, yes, I owe people billions of dollars, and I take that seriously, but I will gladly pay them Tuesday if they will
For a
loan me more
hamburger
money
today.
Yeah. I take it real serious.
But Gene, those loans were challenging.
Yes.
They were challenging, like any loan is. Like my car loan. I pay my car every month, and I pay my insurance every month. So
Yeah, they omit so much, and they try to reframe what they do have. It's garbage. It's pretty much worthless for any other goal other than to further obscure and put yourself in the best light so that people will like you. But anyone with critical thinking can see through it. I mean, look what they say in one of the last sentences. They give themselves this huge get out of jail free card with this sentence. It's rare to find contemporary accounts of Joseph Smith that take a neutral position on the prophet. In other words, all the bad stuff that we find that history tells about him, we're not going to mention that, and we are justified because we should only use neutral or good sources. They literally say it.
that's right. That's right. Hi, Debbie.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yay,
I gotta go,
Dad.
guys. Love you guys.
Welcome. Thanks,
Kendall.
Kendall.
You going, Kendall?
Yep.
Almost
Yeah.
called you Christian Kendallson.
All right.
Kendall Christensen, Christian Kendallson. Oh, I'll answer to both, just for you though.
Take care. Oh boy.
Welcome, Deb.
Okay. Welcome, Debbie.
It's so good to have you tonight.
Well, I've
Yes.
been working with your dog, so you know how it is.
Scratching yourself to get rid of fleas. Is that what you're saying?
All the above, and then paid my expensive rent because it's very expensive. This elaborate bedroom apartment that you're looking at is $2,000. It's a
What?
$100 of hell.
Wow.
It's a shotgun apartment. Now
That's crazy.
there's a shotgun here, and then not. You know how we used to call shotgun houses? You know. Oh, so like during World War II, they used to build homes that were called shotgun houses because you could like come out of your house and like defend yourself.
Shoot a shotgun.
Yeah. And they were just like these track homes that were just like duh. So this is my elaborate 1-bedroom from my kitchen living room, and then off to the side is a very nice closet, which I will say, and a bedroom. And then
And all this for $2,000 a month. It's yours.
Wow.
So
yeah,
Deb,
that's why I have to work so much.
what do you think about the
Wow.
church releasing these new essays, just in general?
You know, the church has always been disingenuous, and they're always behind the the truth, I would say. Meaning, like, they try to justify, like, with even like racism. They were like, oh, but we had a revelation, when they were obviously racist. You know, oh, we had a revelation, when they're obviously bigoted towards LGBTQ. You know, that. So I really feel like they're being disingenuous right now, and I want to know why, because we haven't seen them apparently in October we're going to have a conference, and they're going to say, this is why, brothers and sisters, we are going to scream them. And this sweet girl is going to come on with her Relief Society voice and reaffirm it. It's so bullshit. Like, I'm so tired of Mormon church. Like, and I told you guys, like, I get tired of talking about it, but I really feel like they have a political voice because they have so much money, and especially in Utah. And there's a lot of power grabs going on right now, and money can buy you anything. And so I'm kind of like questioning a lot of narratives about who is what and where we are. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't want to make it political, but I'm just kind of like, I would never send my kid to a Utah school ever. And that's why my kids don't live here with me, is because I saw the indoctrination happening really quick, even in their school system during COVID. And when I saw the online shit, I like literally my in-laws during COVID, they came and I was like, take my kids. Like, take them to St. Louis. Like, I literally was like throwing, like, you're going with Nana and Papa with like no clothes. Like, and for some reason they showed up. They were like, what's going on? And I was just like, get my kids out of Utah. And they were like, why? And I said, because Utah. I don't like what they do to people here, good or bad. I think whatever side of the spectrum you land on, meaning you're this or you're that or you're this or you're that, there is an agenda here. And if you don't follow the line, you're not going to be okay here. Now, I've amazingly been okay. I'm fabulous. Thank you.
always, Debbie. You're always fabulous. Darling Debbie is
My
deliciously
kids are also
delectable.
fabulous, but I'm not with my kids because you think this $2,000 looks like my $1,400 a month like mortgage payment that I had to give up with 4-bedroom house and a half acre of land.
Oh my goodness.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I had to sacrifice, so I did it.
Wow.
Go Deb.
Hi, Diamond Dave.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
We're talking about the three of the new church essays.
I did not know about those, so that should be interesting. Actually,
Okay.
Me neither.
Okay. We talked about Book of Mormon translation. Now, are we done with Joseph Smith?
Yeah, let's be done with Joseph Smith.
Okay,
Was
let's
there any
go to
like
Pearl.
major change?
What do you mean major change?
Like from the last essay, like it seems like it's kind of just little tweaks. So like any big groundbreaking.
Well, they do. Well, yes. There is one groundbreaking paragraph in this essay that we will get to, that is directly pointed at polygamy deniers. But before we get there, begins with talking about the Bible and the Book of Mormon teach monogamy as God's standard, unless he declares otherwise, which is true in both instances. But in specific cases, he said to do plural marriage. So from 1840 to 1890, which is not quite true, the church practiced polygamy. We could go back to 1832 or 34, and we can go all the way up to 1925. But they don't want to go there in response to Revelation. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints taught the practice of plural marriage, also called polygamy. And it says 20 to 30% of Latter-day Saint men and women and children live in families and practice plural marriage. And I did the statistics on how many people practice polygamy in Nauvoo, and before Joseph's death and after Joseph's death, and I can't remember the numbers now, but I have it somewhere.
So, was it elite people?
It was all elite, yes. They were all
Yeah.
elites, yes. Thought about digging it up, but maybe it's here. Let me see.
Well, while Tim is digging,
Yeah.
Diamond Dave, how have you been? How's the married life?
Pretty good.
You okay? Looks like it's treating you well.
Yeah, another day in paradise. So
Nice. Almost literally.
Marriage.
Yeah.
That's a good.
yeah, it's been pretty good. Slowly learning to read Mongolian and like looking at different banks to open a bank account up at, and waiting to hear on various F1 visa things. So pretty good.
Oh, it's never easy being cheesy.
Never easy being cheesy. I have not heard of Cheetos commercials in like 20 years now, since I was 16.
Oh,
He's got
Tim's
some.
on it.
Oh, Tim's eating Cheetos right now. Okay, well,
No, I will not eat them online, but I was previously. I just got these at the store tonight.
no mukbang, huh? Okay.
They have Cheetos.
Hell, I'd eat them
over there?
online.
Yeah, so I'm just working on my YouTube channel, updating thumbnails, doing all of that sort of stuff. So
Well, it sounds fantastically hard work and fun.
it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun.
Good for you.
Never a dull moment.
So I was shown that book that I had, what Tim is researching. This is the teachings of Joseph Smith. And I got this from my dad. He had this in his library.
Oh, TPJS.
So this is published by Deseret Book in 1970. So imagine how many times they've altered this, because this was like his teachings from Joseph Fielding Smith. Like, so his like Joseph Fielding Smith was his grandson, right? But you can look at
Hiram's
whenever you hear any topic.
Hiram's
Joseph
grandson.
F. Smith, Hiram's grandson. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But this book is fascinating, and I own it thanks to my father.
Are you finding information in there that is blatantly true or blatantly false?
All he did was take things that Joseph Smith said out of the 7-volume history of the church. That's all he did.
Well, I would say it was like what Brigham Young did with the Journal of Discourses too, is like he took his interpretation and then dissuaded it. And I feel like Joseph Fielding Smith took Joseph Smith's stuff and like kind of like manipulated it. And it's been edited since 1970. So that's a very long time since Joseph Smith died.
Oh, it was edited before that. It was edited when he put it together.
But if you read what Joseph Smith said, you're like, this guy is a fucking like Kool-Aid drinking radical, like Warren Jeffs level of cray-cray of Mahizeh. Like his fundamental beliefs are weird. And if anyone followed Joseph Smith, they'd be like, you're following like Scientology or like Jehovah's Witness or like all these other cults that we like, ha ha ha, we're not cults, we're so cool. Like we would be like drinking Kool-Aid with Joseph Smith.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the people who were the first adoptees of Mormonism were people that were highly susceptible to cult-like behavior. We know that they did the gift of tongues. They did all kinds of things. They were looking for the gifts of the Spirit to be manifest among them, and they were seeking these things. They were seekers of the restoration, and so there was a small group of people, right? Just like today.
now
like
is it,
today.
it's so like over promoted large, and it's not large and in charge. Financially, it's large and in charge, but this shit ain't large and in charge. If you look at the teachings of Mormonism and Joseph Smith, this is absolutely the most bullshit book I've ever read, and I have books in my cupboard.
Right. Well, less than 1/2% of all of humanity believes in Mormonism. More people believe the earth is flat than believe in
Thank
Mormon
God.
and in Bigfoot.
and in Bigfoot. Although
Hey,
don't
I
know
believe in
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. I'm from Washington.
No, that's okay.
We
We said
love backyard professors, so we're gonna believe in a few aliens here or there.
there's
Randy, if
nothing
you
wrong
join
with
a
that,
Bigfoot
Randy.
church and you think that your salvation depends on believing in Bigfoot, then I will try to rescue you someday.
Isn't it true? Isn't it true that there are more people who follow Jediism, like the Star Wars
Yes.
religion, than
Yes.
Really? That's
Yes.
hilarious. I saw
Yes.
that stat. That's hilarious.
Like,
Okay.
people LARP Lord of the Rings, like they take on the characters.
Yep.
In Utah, I've seen them go out into the parks and they get these whole LARPing events. And they are
Right.
literally like live action playing. That's what LARPing is, live action playing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
thank
they
you.
are
I didn't know
Oh,
taking
that.
I
on the
get that.
characters.
But
Yeah,
how
they-
many of these Jedi worshipers are going to be on Dancing with the Stars this year? That's what I want to know. Right, Randy?
Good
Well, in The
question.
That's
Bachelor,
right.
apparently,
paying
she's
their
going to
10%.
be
Anyway,
ticket
But yes,
number.
back to the subject. New Mormon gospel topic essays.
okay. In Nauvoo, before Joseph died, 196 males and 717 women entered into polygamy.
Wow.
After his death,
Ratio.
76 and 587 women. Okay. So the anointed quorum basically consists of 196 men and 717 women. Okay.
Wow. So,
Well, women are
we were-
psychopaths, just for the record.
Pardon?
Okay.
What? I didn't
Women
catch
What,
are
that.
Deb?
more naturally predisposed to follow the leader than men will. Because, like, if you've ever been in charge of an army, that's like hurting cat. Like, that's like hurting women. Like, hurting women is like hurting cats. So women like can get a little psychopath. It's like those girls who used to obsess about any like celebrity where they get almost overly obsessed. Like,
Mhm.
and
You
I would
realize,
even
Deb,
Taylor Swift world. Like, she charms a lot of young girls with bracelets, and they're all doing charms, and they're spending thousands of dollars that they can't afford. Like, that's the
you
true.
realize you're the only one that can say that on this panel, right?
Well, yeah, because I'm a woman,
Yep.
and also I was a young girl.
WOMAN.
But I love Prince. Oh my God.
Okay. Anyway,
No, I've done it myself. I've done it myself.
So we're moving on to the plural marriage.
polygamy. So
Yeah.
this practice required faith and sacrifice. Okay. Which is true. You know,
Yeah.
why are you laughing, Trevor?
It's just fun. You have to have faith to
Yeah.
Right.
extra marriages.
Especially if faith
Yeah,
was
right. Like, I have to have a lot of faith. My husband's sleeping with another woman. That
Now,
never would make sense. And trust me, you guys are all married and love your wives
I'm not.
or have been married. Would that
Well,
ever
see-
play with a woman you've ever loved? Just because I'm a woman, does that ever work? If any of you tried to do that right now in your relationships, do you think you'd be single or dead? Or would someone
Dead.
pushing
One,
Very
down
much dead.
and poisoning
if
someone?
if I was in a polygamous relationship, would
no.
I be?
No, Tim, because they were in monogamous relationships, and then Joseph Smith taught them that this lifestyle was okay, or polyandry or polygamy or whatever it was, that like letting this come in. And I'm asking all of you, if right now in your current relationships, if all of a sudden they said, open the floodgates, it's allowed, we're good, we're cool, would your wife or your significant other
I think it's bold. I think it's bold of you to assume Tim does not already have multiple wives.
There you go.
Tim's a single guy. Tim's
They just don't know,
single.
but
We're not
yeah,
talking
single.
Tim panel. I guess I'm talking to the
but-
other like.
I know.
So I'm married, and I'll say the first stage of me following polygamy would be that I would become single again, just prior to
Start over, ground zero.
getting extra wives. So I actually asked AI to.
You couldn't handle your first wife, Gene, is what that lesson taught you, and now you want to go.
Yeah. So
Look it up
I asked
more.
AI to summarize this section on plural marriage, and just for the record, I'll read it. It'll take about 2 minutes. It says,
Okay.
This section on plural marriage is a new resource page presented in an easy to understand Q&A format found within the topics and questions section of the Gospel Library app and on churchofjesuschrist.org, the new name of the church. I wonder if they're going to have the .org as part of it. Anyway,
Trademark.
it says that the Bible and the Book of Mormon teach about that monogamy is God's standard for marriage unless he declares otherwise. Plural marriage was a principle the church taught from the early 1840s to about 1890 in response to a revelation given to the prophet Joseph Smith. The practice required faith and sacrifice from both men and women, like we talked about, and was a cause of significant opposition for many years from everyone else in the world, right? Just about. Approximately 20 to 30% of Latter-day Saint men, women, and children lived in families practicing plural marriage over that 50-year period, of which Tim just alluded to a little bit ago. Eventually, the Lord directed the saints to discontinue the practice. And how many more times did he do it? At least a couple more times. He said, "Yeah."
1903, 1904, and then again in 1932. The final time.
I'm going to say the everlasting principle of marriage is not lasting, right? A number of times. The church president, Wilford Woodruff, issued the manifesto in 1890 to halt new plural marriages, but that didn't work. 230, I think, post-manifesto marriages were documented by D. Michael Quinn, I believe, somewhere around there. Latter-day Saints.
His polygamy article.
Here's like the one true thing that you could say. Latter-day Saints do not practice plural marriage today. Now, unless...
Are you sure about that?
Unless they succumb to the fundamentalist groups, right?
Now, like I said, I knew Rhea Coons, she lived in Draper. Rhea was a polygamist. She'd been married polygamy 3 or 4 times, I think. And she told me that she knew of people in the Salt Lake Valley who were members of the church and also polygamists. So
right.
It is secret polygamy.
Yeah, I grew up with polygamists, Tim.
And it has to
No. These were,
Academy.
Debbie, these were active members of the church.
But they have to be secret.
Practicing polygamy in secret.
The next sentence says, and those who enter or promote the practice cannot remain members of the church, the Brighamite section of the church, right? So yes, you have to keep it secret. The section also addresses Emma Smith, noting she ultimately rejected the practice. Critically, the resource clarifies that monogamous temple marriage is necessary for exaltation. Crucially, I mean. So why is that crucially now? Because for 50 years and even more, maybe 100 years, plural marriage was the only way you could get exaltation, right? I think you had to be at least married to 3 women if you were a man.
I'm going to get there in a minute. Okay, so, we'll get there.
You get married again?
And no scripture teaches that plural marriage is currently required.
Hang on.
Although section 132 is still a scripture, and I'm pretty sure it still teaches that plural marriage is required. But but that's what the church is saying. There's nothing here. There's no droid. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Okay.
And God will also not force unwanted marriage arrangements in the next life. Phew.
What?
Well,
isn't that nice to know?
Hang on.
The church has taken a stand that God won't do something in the future.
Which paragraph? Oh, that's okay. Okay,
I'm done.
Okay. All right. Now we will go to that last statement first. Will there be unwanted marriage arrangements in the next life? No. Wait a minute.
Come on.
Hang on. They contradict themselves. The purpose of Heavenly Father's plan is eternal happiness. God will not force anyone to enter or remain in a marriage relationship he or she does not want. Okay. Now, the church teaches that these family arrangements will be worked out in the eternities according to the justice, mercy, and love of God and the agency of those involved. So they just contradicted themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What's bound on earth is bound in heaven.
Down in
right?
heaven. That's right.
Well, it
said,
also
"You
sounds
like
like it sounds like it contradicts itself too, because it's like they teach eternal marriage, but if for whatever reason you get to the afterlife and suddenly you don't want to stay married, how does that work?
That's
I think
right.
it's saying you will want it. You don't
To
want it
marry
now.
to that's right.
When
That's
you-
right. If
when
you
you
don't
get to
want to stay
heaven,
married to the guy you're married
you're gonna
to,
like
and I
it.
want a different husband, or I want a different wife. That's right. That's right.
Well, yeah, they're gonna get up there and
Yeah.
find
Yeah,
all
it's
these babe angels up there and be like, "Oh,
I'm down
no,
now. Yeah,
I was
It's
just
not
thinking,
even not
I'm
even
out.
that. It could just be like, what if some dude was like, gets to the Mormon afterlife and then is like, you know what, I don't want to be married anymore. I just want to go and like get my own planet, like, and just like play Sims forever. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of
what if
space.
he just wants to like screw off and like just chill on an asteroid and just fly through space? Like,
Yeah, you can make a crappy planet.
plus, you know what?
Up
That
to
just
you.
reminded me that when you talk about that which is bound on earth will be bound in heaven. Some Mormons have a kink where that might be attractive to them.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I think we call Tim Daybell, or is that what his name is? Daybell, Tim, or
Chad
Troy, or
Daybell,
Chad Daybell.
Tim's
I'm
brother.
sorry, I
Was he in
didn't
bondage?
follow, so I don't know his name, but I just know Daybell.
Chad Daybell. What about Chad?
Well, he followed a really weird, willful sin that was unpardonable.
I don't know that much.
Yeah, no, sure, you're talking about.
This is why we need Megan here. Okay, we're going to go to the next paragraph. Does the church teach that plural marriage is required for exaltation? No. Excuse me. I have 8 statements necessary to gain exaltation.
Rosie Smith, the duty of wives and children, not wife and child.
Wives. That's right. Thank you, Debbie.
He always says wives. This is page 145 in the Joseph Smith handbook. Like if we're all Boy Scouts.
You're great. I love it.
It was a typo. It was a
I
typo.
have 8 statements. One is in the Journal of Discourses. The fullness, and we will show you that it is incorporated as a part of our religion and necessary for our exaltation, the fullness of the Lord's glory in the eternal world. Before we get through, we will endeavor to tell you why we consider it an essential doctrine to glory and exaltation to our fullness of happiness in the world. Another one from the Journal of Orson Pratt. What? Go ahead.
Isn't the argument that like you can get to the celestial kingdom without it, but you can't get to the
But listen to the
correct. You
because
can't get to that.
what
You have.
That's the fine
is the
print.
duty of wives and children. I have it in the book.
Hang on. Just a minute.
Okay, go.
To obtain the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. Remember, the celestial kingdom has 3 more degrees.
Yeah, 3 levels. Yeah.
Right? No, it has 3 more above that. There's 6 in there actually.
Oh, there's 6.
To reach the highest degree, one has to be a polygamist. Yes. Okay. This is Brigham Young.
You can get to heaven without it.
That's right. The only men who become gods, even the sons of gods, are those who enter into polygamy.
Yeah.
As is attained unto a glory and may even be permitted to come into the presence of the Father and the Son, but they cannot reign as kings in glory because they had blessings offered unto them and they refused to accept them. Okay.
You know why polygamy is because of this doctrine right here, because it puts the fear of God into them, because it's the duty of wives and their children. Meaning that
That's
they
crazy.
have to conform to whatever Tim just said, that Joseph was telling the men, but in the doctrine and in the book written by his what posterity, it said it's an imperative duty that we owe to God, to angels, to whom those who we shall brought to stand, and also to ourselves, our wives and children, who have been made to bow down with grief, sorrow, and care under the most damning hand of murder, tyranny, and oppression. Sorry, I'm getting a little overworked. Supported, and urged on, and upheld by the influence of that spirit which was so strongly riveted the creeds of their fathers. Meaning it's up to men, not women, not children. It doesn't matter about family values. It is one thing that can control the whole family, and that is not a family dynamic. A family means a wife, a mother, a child. We like argue. We say, what are we going to do with this kid? Hey, wait till your dad gets home. It's not this. It's never been this. And that's why I'm so angry.
Debbie, I have to tell you that you invoking and sounding like Joseph Smith, if you had said that after Joseph Smith had died, people would have elected you to be the next prophet.
I'm a woman. No, they would not have. They would have come right.
They made up later that Brigham Young looked like Joseph, but you were doing a really good job. And I just had revelation, everybody. I figured out my mind sort of the squirrels inside were like going on overtime. And I have an idea that the church's next weasel word was that prophet was speaking as a man who thought he was speaking as a prophet in order to overcome all the stuff that's in the book that Debbie has.
I got the book. My dad gave it to me. It's real.
Yeah.
So Tim, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Why in the hell do you think there's so many more female spirits than male? I mean, when they were creating spirits up in heaven, did they have to wait to find out what the gender of the baby was? Or could they control male and female?
Well,
and if so, why the hell so many females?
You have an assumption there. Maybe it's because more male babies died and didn't make it to adulthood, and females are stronger than us and made it because they're stronger than us.
Yeah, but there'd still be polygamy up there. Each male would have to have 3 females.
Well,
no. Yeah, if you do the math, if the gospel had spread like a stone cut out from a mountain without hands, and it spread throughout the world, and it was true, and they didn't have to give up polygamy, right? They never had to. Only half of the males could practice polygamy.
Yeah, only the elites get a shot.
Right? Because they would run out of women.
Yeah. That's why they didn't tell everyone.
That's what I'm saying.
My grandfather was an elite. Both my grandfathers who practiced it were not elite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, roughly.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Anyway, so William Clayton says he learned it from him, and Joseph S. Smith. Some people have supposed that the doctrine of plural marriage was a sort of superfluity or non-essential to the salvation or exaltation of mankind. Eliza Partridge, celestial plural marriage. I was taught. Well, anyway.
Yeah,
it's an essential to salvation. Every single one of these quotes. Doctrine of plural marriage upon the same principle of salvation and exaltation. So they lie. The church did teach that it is required
multiple definitions. It's like how they weasel. Like we say salvation, and that means this, but it also means this and this. So we can say these words. People that know, they know. Other people, they'll just assume what we want them to assume.
Well, and it's to Trevor's point, it sounds like it's legalese, right? So they worded it as we do not teach this, which implies we do not teach this now at this
Anymore.
time in 25.
Yeah.
But it makes no reference to what did they teach in the past. It just says we do not currently teach this as of this time.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this will be interesting because this is page 37. This is by Joseph Smith Jr. and DHC 143-146.
That's the documentary history of the church.
Your unworthy brother and in the new and everlasting covenant. Oh my God. Thou hast called a chosen few through thy weak instrument by commandment and sent them to Missouri to a place which thou didst call Zion, and commanded thy servant to consecrate unto the saints. Do you see this biblical bullshit these people were following?
So Debbie, maybe we should do a series where you read that for an hour, and we'll just see how many. We'll see how many.
I'll tell you no lies. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have you read that for an hour, and we'll do like 57 episodes.
Yeah. Sell the whole book on tape.
Oh, can I start with Justice of the Great Lawgiver?
Yeah, start at the beginning.
Well, no,
So anyway,
let us continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Tim, what else you want to say about this final polygamy thing?
Well, why did the church teach and practice polygamy? They said because God commands it, basically. And how is it beginning? Actually, they do admit in this essay that Joseph Smith was sealed to over 30 women. And some of these sealings were understood to take effect only after this life. Well, some were viewed as constituting marriage relationships as this life as well as the next. Quite frankly, I think he slept with every single one of them.
Yeah.
But,
Well, have you thought that maybe God created way too many females and thought, oh, crap, what do we do now? Let's require each male to take 3 females.
I like that. I like that. 3 females. I like that. That's a good ratio. 3 or 4.
And just to be clear, when Tim says that Joseph Smith slept with each of them, he doesn't mean they were catching up on their sleep.
Well, according to William Clayton's diary,
they were trying to procreate.
William Clayton arranged meetings with Joseph Smith. He had sex at least 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. That is in William Clayton's diary. So when we ever get to see the whole thing, this is from Mike Quinn, said he was doing it at least 3 times a day in many instances.
So interesting side note, and it's just kind of weird to that because Warren Jeffs, when he was held in the Point jail before they moved it out to Vernal,
the airport.
That's where he was held for that.
Warren Jeffs isn't in Utah. He's not in Utah.
He was in Utah for a time.
Utah wanted to let him go on bad judicial instructions.
Oh, okay.
He went to the feds
after the whole trial, which was astounding because they could have tried him on 100 things, but they wanted to try him on marrying his a young
13-year-old or 14-year-old
cousin, which he every day. And money laundering, racketeering, fraud, embezzlement, Utah didn't even touch. They were like, we're going to go for the soft spot and make it heartfelt. It's so cool.
Feds are better.
Well, thank God Texas stepped in and raided that compound because they raided the compound. And before he could get released from Utah jail, he had to go to Texas to be tried. It's like Lori Vallow, before anyone could go soft on her, they had to actually get a state that would prosecute her for killing her children. So I don't know where I was going with this, but Where was it going with that?
At least you were saying it passionately, though.
Thank you, Randy. I think we were talking about something about polygamy, and I was like, you could have charged him on polygamy because back in the day it was a felony, and he had been married to 65 wives. Okay, we go there.
Right.
Right.
Joseph Smith thought bigamy meant he was a big person because of it.
A big me. He was a big
It was-
me.
It was real big of me to marry all those young girls.
So,
Biggie me. He's a Wendy's
and
fan.
and it refers people back to the plural marriage in Kirtland, the Nauvoo essay. And then the next one is, did Joseph Smith practice plural marriage, or was it introduced by Brigham Young and others? This is directly pointed at the polygamy deniers or monogamy affirmers or whatever the frack they want to call themselves now. Joseph Smith introduced the practice, not Brigham Young. Credible contemporary sources document Joseph's practice of plural marriage. And the footnote there is William Clayton's journal, Isaac and Sarah Scott. Anyway, a bunch of stuff. And the Nauvoo Expositor as sources, William Law's journal.
And that's
and
a big
others.
one. Why is that so big, important that they're using the Nauvoo Expositor as
Because it's an anti-Mormon source.
because the whole thing was the expositor was destroyed because they were spewing lies.
That's right. And that's
He
why
burned
Joseph
that
Smith,
down. That's why he was in the Nauvoo jail. Duh.
like many, no, you mean not Nauvoo, Carthage. Later, many faithful men and women who knew of Joseph's practice of plural marriage gave sworn testimony of it. Rather than deny this historical practice, we can apply the principle outlined in seeking answers to gospel questions to help us better understand it, which is, of course, another circular argument back to their bullshit or fair marriage. Okay. And what did Emma know about Joseph's practice of plural marriage? Well, I think when we get Clayton's diaries, we're going to learn a lot more than what Emma knew about it.
That's right.
She suspected a bunch, and we really don't know because there aren't a lot of sources. All we have are later sources for Emma from the 1860s and 70s, where she denied it and she says he didn't do it. I think she's just living in cognitive dissonance and doesn't want to admit the obvious.
She kind of reminds me of what's the Jeffrey Epstein? What's her name? Like Ghislaine, like the Ghislaine.
Giselle Maxwell.
She's like the Ghislaine Waxwell of the story. I didn't traffic children to my husband. I didn't groom them for his sexual satisfaction because I didn't really want to have sex with them. But I like the money and the power.
What weak instrument? What do you mean weak instrument? They make pills for that.
She's saying that if your instrument is weak, they make pills like Viagra.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not paying attention to the chat tonight.
Come on, Tim.
I thought you just had that thought.
All right.
Got a message from God.
All right. Okay.
Well, she denied it too. Oh, I never did that. I would never do that.
Right. Okay. How did women experience plural marriage in the 19th century? I can only speak about my three grandmothers who were, had a grandmother. She had a baby. She died. She knew two sisters, Emma and Elizabeth. And she said to my grandpa Jacob, you marry them and they'll take care of my kid. And then you can marry them. She said an angel appeared to her and told her who he should marry. This is the family lore, who he should marry. And so he married the two sisters, and one family lived in Star Valley, Afton, Wyoming, and the other family lived in Bear Lake, Montpelier, Idaho. And they both had about 12 or 13 kids. One family had more boys and girls, and one family had more girls and boys. I think it was the one in Wyoming had more girls and boys and more boys and girls. And I can tell you that there was animosity between the families because each other would point at each other saying, he spent more time with you. That's what I hear at family reunions.
This almost sounds like a script from The Godfather. Like, like Corleone family, like, and the horse in the bed, or cartel, but they do, like, this is like mafioso like level like thinking. If you want to put it into like, because I read and I've watched those movies and like whatever, but like seriously, that is not how normal people think when they love a family, and they don't create that kind of diversity in a family. They have family reunions. We get together. They're fun. Like, getting together with my family is fun. It's not like, and at the end of this experience, will put a horse head in your bedroom. It's not like that. It's almost like, right? Am I
Right.
wrong? Please tell me I'm
No.
wrong. When I
So
read
okay,
it
let
from
me
Tim's
finish.
version, I'm like,
Let me finish this thing about that Tim brought up. The how did women experience? It says some found happiness and fulfillment while others struggled. Some women reported that plural marriage was lonely and difficult. So there is plenty of things that we can look to in order to see how everybody thought. And then the last question is, how did plural marriage end in the church? And it says evidence suggests that only about 200 plural marriages were performed after the manifesto. For 100 years, Tim, how many marriages after the manifesto did the church fess up to until D. Michael Quinn listed them all? Zero, right?
No. Yes. Until his article and dialogue. Yeah. Zero. Yes.
Yeah. So it didn't happen until D. Michael Quinn said, "Oh yeah, it did," and then they're backpedaling.
I have in my genealogy, Rick's College, named after my
When were they married? When were they married? Were they married before?
They were married for 20 years before he took on the second wife, which was my grandmother, a Scottish immigrant who was 19.
What year?
So he had 5 children.
What
had a
year?
wife, and was sent to a mission in New Zealand.
Yeah, but what year did your grandma get married?
What was it after 1890?
Oh yeah, it was like, because my grandpa was born in 1902, or no, 1912, and I think they were married in 1902.
Okay, he's a post-manifesto marriage.
12 years after the manifesto.
My family name is Smeley, S-M-L-E-L-S-M. It looks like smelly. It's very smelly. No,
Okay.
The whole history is there. And Miriam Ricks is why you had this prestigious family in Idaho.
College.
And that was his first wife. My grandpa's dad was prestigious until he became a polygamist. And then it like went downhill because they went into hiding and they were doing all this bullshit to try to hide that they took on this second wife because they got married in Canada. He married the 19-year-old and then had 6 kids with that wife, which is my family, my mother's father's family line. So yes, it totally existed, and I grew up with this, not understanding it. I'm like, well, if we didn't do this, but then we go to family reunions, and they're like 2 sides of the family. Like back in the day when I was early growing up, like family reunions, all of them got together, and there was like a he side and a she side. And I realized
exactly.
I didn't even know about, like 2 doors down. It was so weird. It was weird as a kid.
Okay, so yours is an example of a post-manifesto polygamous marriage.
Absolutely.
Well, we know the last one probably took place in 1925, according to Mike Quinn, in the Logan Temple. So that may have been the last plural marriage performed, and it was in 1925. And in 1932 was the final manifesto. J. William Clark insisted on it, but they drew up a document ending polygamy.
Tim, how many of the elite families got to do it in secret, like my bloodline?
I don't know.
Because I'm apparently related to every Mormon prophet but 2. My mom did her genealogy.
Well, okay, because when John Taylor and what's his name was excommunicated. The 2 and the 12, Taylor and can't remember the other one. They still perform plural marriages up through the teens, like I said, 1925. So I don't know the number. I don't know if anybody's done a study on that. But.
Well, I think the thing we got closest to the study that went so far off the mark, like we're talking 1800s to like 1980, is the Pace letters, where they were saying there's elite covens that do these things and practice a certain way that is abnormal and abhorrent to church practice, but they get away with it.
Yeah, probably. So.
For the record.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's published the numbers on that. I'd have to look into that.
I'm following a really he's a graduate student in research, and Randy knows how I like to research. This guy has got me almost like licked.
No way.
Well, because he does deep dives that I can't do because I've already like skimmed the surface, and I'm like, I can't even look that far into this because I'm a woman and it hurts my soul. And he's a man, and he's like, I'm in a deep dive. It's called LDS abuse on X.
Oh,
and
yeah, the one you told me about. We've communicated.
Yeah. Massive, like research, because Randy, when I research, I sent you like document after document. Like this is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like he does that kind of research. It's not like me and you and all of us like talking in a panel like, well, my family did this and I read this in a book and we all like have an opinion. No, like I value that because I take an opinion and then we'll research it. This guy has done the work, and dude, floodlight.
Okay, I've got the numbers. I went to Chat GPT.
And he started doing interviews. He started doing interviews on YouTube with a few ex-Mormon podcasters, and I told Gene we need to get him on.
Wow, no kidding.
Okay.
Or someone needs to get him on his channel. Like, and I don't think John Delen's the kind of guy that can handle this guy. Because he's
Shots
too.
fired.
Oh, I told them they should get in contact with John. They should go on his show. I think they should.
No, because John, like literally,
John has the audience though that we don't have.
But you know what? It's not about who watches you. It's about truth. And I feel like truth should be told, because John even was posting like today on Facebook, like, oh, don't make this channel too political. It's not about that. And I'm like, you're talking about Utah and politics and something that happened in Utah versus with a political affiliation. And you don't think people are going to have a political like opinion, like, and you interview people to ask for their voice and their truth and their vulnerability, but you can't handle the truth. I was kind of like, John, you're sounding weak sauce right now.
Okay, I don't know, but
this guy is such a no-name.
Okay. Well, we're off on another subject. Let's go back. Let's go back to where we were. Okay. We can. Okay. According to Chat GPT, there were 1 to 200 at 1890 to 95, 1895 to 1900, 50 to 100, 1890 to 1910, 2 to 400, 1890 to 1910, 50 to 100, 1900 to 1920, 50 to 100, and in the 1920s, 50, approximately.
By document.
500 to 950 in Mexico and in the U.S., Were
But when
in
it was
post
at
manifest.
it was totally undocumented human labor and sex trafficking before it was became a state. So we're talking after statehood. This was now apparently documented, but there was a whole territory of this going on, of this behavior. And I want to point that out.
Well, that was territory time. Utah didn't
Polygamy.
become a state till 1896, so a lot of that was when it was a territory.
Oh,
Yeah.
one of them. Did you say one of them? Okay, we got one.
No, a few of them.
A lot of them.
Well,
Utah was a state really late.
but were they with only elite families? Was like the no-name Joe?
No.
Well, some of them
Not
happened in Mexico
or
and
was it just
Canada.
like there were
Remember, they were doing
prominent
them in
church
Mexico.
members,
Remember,
like
Debbie, Debbie,
70
they
as well.
were doing them in Mexico and Canada. Some of them, I think Ivan's went to
Mexico
Canada.
and
I
Canada,
can't.
please.
You're what?
They still do marriages in Mexico and Canada. We still have a Mexico FLDS base in Mexico, and the
Debbie, we're
Blackbirds.
talking Debbie, we're talking the church. We're not talking an offshoot. Yes, we
But
know that.
why did they become offshoots? Because they said, oh, we can't do that, brother. Keep it behind closed doors. It's quiet, sacred.
Okay. So anyway, those are the numbers. Post manifesto. So their number of, what was it, 200 is still suspect.
Well, how many children do you think those 200 created? A legion.
Too many.
Yeah. And these guys are all like Bible thumping, like end of the world, like bad actors, like weird shit that even if I grew up with this, I don't believe in any of that weird shit.
Remember the reason that Mark.
I don't believe in any of that weird shit. I believed in the goodness of.
Remember the
I just
reason.
wanted to believe in God and Jesus, and like someone would save me. Like I was just being a nice person until it didn't become nice.
The reason that Mark Hoffman was pissed off was because the church wouldn't recognize his plural grandmother. That's one of the reasons he got upset.
Well, that's retarded. That's a retarded reason to blow up a bunch of people and screw up their life.
No, not that. That was because
reason.
That's his reason for the bombs, or not the bombs. His reason for creating the forgeries was to get back at the church for not acknowledging his grandparents' marriage. Anyway.
God, that's some deep issues,
Debbie?
but those are generational issues. I don't think we have those issues in our generation. Like, because I don't understand kind of that. I don't understand why my grandpa did that. I don't understand.
You didn't understand why your grandpa did what? Did what?
Well, so when my grandpa, he was the oldest child of that second wife. He left polygamy during the 19 pandemic, like 1912 pandemic.
1919.
Spanish flu.
Spanish
Yeah,
flu,
the
1919.
And the polygamous wife said, because you went to school, you brought home the flu and it killed his mother. And she told him it killed his mother. And she was resentful because then she had to raise those other like wives' children. And he was the oldest. And he left the whole community at 13 and started working on the railroads. Like, what kind of life is that for a 13-year-old boy?
Wow.
Pretty typical for that time.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Still bad. Though.
Pretty bad, but typical for that
So-
time.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
just a
Child labor
second,
was
Debbie.
so typical and accepted. We
Debbie?
love it.
Debbie.
Yes.
So I'm gonna tell everybody thanks for watching, and we'll end the
yeah,
show.
Debbie
We'll have that.
ranted on her.
We'll have the
other
after
work-
show still going, but we thought we'd talk about the new Mormon Gospel Topics essays and just have our way with them.
So much better than this. Let's just say that this was wrong. Apparently,
No, that's
much better.
that's better. That's more honest than this is.
Right, but it's right. But anyway, there's lots of bad throughout the Mormon history, and part of what podcasts are doing is shedding the shining the light of truth, right, on
Right.
to Mormonism bad past. The Gospel Topics essays are sort of like saying a little bit more of the truth, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and someday the whole truth will come out. But they're still trying to make people be okay with it, and that's what a good business would do, right, Diamond Dave? A good business would do everything they can to keep their current members
Happy.
buying their
We would also
Unless
say-
they're trying to go international.
buying their product.
That's right. Unless they're trying to
Then
go
the
to
American exceptionalism doesn't play well.
That's right.
And so anyway,
All right.
thanks everybody for watching.
Good night.
We'll have an after show if anybody wants to hop on.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. Do the things.
Share it.
Debbie,
Share it. Share it
extremely
out.
tired. She's been up since 3:30, so she might
Oh
not.
no. Oh
do it.
no.
Dude,
All right.
I am so tired. I've
Well, I
walked.
understand it. You can be
yeah.
tired. You can be tired. All right.
Hey, I just
Okay.
want to say to anyone who's watched this, anyone in the chat, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
You know, like always, I'm going to ask if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing or sharing this. This has been a kind of a lively discussion about church history. And for those
They
of
got
you
Debbie
who
on.
enjoy
So-
that,
And Dave.
We need you.
We're glad that you showed up. And Dave, yeah, we're glad you showed up. And Deb,
Well,
that
we're glad you showed up.
Trevor and Tim and Gene and I are usually here every week, but we always welcome those who
come.
aren't.
That's right.
Yep.
All right.
Welcome,
Thanks,
welcome.
everybody. And
Have a great
night.
night.
have a great rest of 2025, and we'll see you next.